Hi guys. So yes, I was on Shorty, beautiful Shorty's page, and definitely saw different foods there. She mentioned that everything was vegan. Now, this is which brought me to a topic. Now, guys, I want you guys to know that reading the back of your of the box of whatever products you make, if it's not from scratch, because a lot of stuff, like a lot of times, like some food made that's made from scratch at home is more likely to be vegan if it's like rice and pasta, different things like that. But make sure that you read the sauces, the canned foods that they make. A lot of them are made with like beef fat extract, different things. Be very careful. Make sure that you ordering food that actually at the back says usually I would even eat food that is not ordered from that's not made in the same facility as meat products, because I know cross contamination always happens whenever people make products. And the last thing I need is the food to be mixed up, like the food to literally be mixed up with different stuff. So with like egg products, etc., etc. It's so important. You don't want to be a part of, like, let me tell you the story. The reason why, another big reason of why I went through what I went through, because sharing that experience with Mother Earth, or as Mother Earth, like having that, having experiencing what all the animals experienced, all the pains that the animals suffered and went through, so that we could put an end to it, is very important. So my body was telling me what the body was going through, and they were telling me like it was some sort of mark of the beast or something that I was going through, and the battle that I went through was so serious. And my body, you guys have to go through it to see that, to see what it is. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, might try to say, oh, you never been through nothing. You guys are going to go through it. Like, those of you who say that you think we never went through stuff, that stuff was bad. Like, especially like, it was just like experiencing what everybody experienced in a different way, like a little bit of each, like literally like the military service went through, facing bombs, being terrorized by bombs, being terrified in your life. All those things were things that I experienced in the spirit. And I was in my room and I was like, how are we going to come out of this? And the voices were telling me, it's life and death. It's life and death. And you have to fight through this and you have to fight through that and blah, blah, blah. And a lot of times they were saying like the white people that were talking in my head, right? Or whatever other spirits, but specifically them, because this is their country. They were literally telling me like, they have these billionaires that are just trying to take over the country. Like, they just, these black billionaires specifically, they just come in to take over the country, and other billionaires too, not just black ones, but specifically, they come to try to take over the country, but they're not doing anything to fix the country. And that's what the America is trying to fight against. They don't want rulers that are not going to help, that don't have responsibilities in their genes or in their blood. They only give because they're asked to give, but they don't have it in their heart. When you don't have it in your heart as a billionaire to want to make a difference, you're not going to get the world. God is not going to give you the world as you desire, because the only goal is for you to win over, just to destroy people. So if you destroy every single person versus grabbing the bad and getting rid of the bad, if you destroy every single person and this place gets filled with nothing but villains, the world is not going to be a better place. The world is not going to be a better place. The world is not going to be a safer place. Hold on. Like, you don't want to like withhold good from people that need it, but at the same time you don't want to give power to people that are going to abuse their power, that are not going to do what they're supposed to do with their money, that are not going to feed the people what they need versus what they want. Like, a lot of the celebrities, the musicians, it's like they never want to stop, because as long as the money is in it, Why stop doing that? Because that's what they're requesting. The world is more album. You have to tell the world no. Like Rihanna told the world, no, I'm not going to give you no more of my voice. I'm going to give you something different. That's what makes her better than Beyonce. Even if Beyonce was a harder fighter, a better fighter, and she really like been fighting in the U.S. for the U.S. or with the U.S. for a very long time. But I don't think she was 1,000% with the U.S. because her and Jay-Z's agenda is to literally rise as a black race just to take over and knock down the white community. Like, that's not our goal. That's not what we want. That's not what I want. Especially if in the black community, all they want to do is beat each other up. And I know it's not every single person, but the majority is like that. And I don't want to keep going from gang after gang after gang, gangs that are trying to pretend like they're organizations when they're really gangbangers. Like, that's not what I'm trying to be a part of. That's not what I want to be a part of. We need to be a part of the right organizations that are not going to be sacrificing people and killing people and doing all sorts of wicked things just so people could be down a ride. Like, that's so crazy. We need to use our money to put our money to good use where it's supposed, and that starts by building, like we said, better shelters. In these shelters, we have to literally make it mandatory that people do not eat meat. If you do not want to eat meat, if you want to eat meat, you can't live there. Like, are you hungry or are you not? And we're not going to force you to eat unhealthy food because you want them to get better so they can get to work. Because if they get better, then we have a chance of having workers, employees, people to help build rather than break down, right? And if you're feeding them meat, processed foods in the shelters and giving them what they want, they're not going to get better. They're just going to stay sick. And I know that you think it's a good idea to keep the sick because you're going to keep getting money because you think that you feel like, oh, if they're not sick and if they don't stay here, we're going to lose profit. There's not going to be any people in the shelter. So we're going to delay their housing because if we don't delay their housing, we're not going to have enough people in the shelter. Then why are people on the street? Why are people on the street? They're delaying the housing. Why are people on the street? You need to house those people. You can't force them, but the police can definitely force them. Either go to jail, and they're starting to charge people to go to jail nowadays. They start to charge them for rent because people think, oh, they can just go to jail just to have a roof over their head. You know what about where are the prisoners, the real prisoners going to be? And then keeping murderers for what? Why would you keep a killer? Because of course you have to deal with the case and find out if they were actual criminals, if this and that. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's really hard, and that's why they would have them in jail for a while they work on their case. But life in prison, listen, if they killed and they're guilty, put them down, please. Put them down. If they're guilty, put them down. No excuses. Because we can't have killers out here, unlicensed killers out here. There is no spending 40 years to life in prison. That's a waste. For what? Feeding him for what? What are you feeding him for? To kill another body? Innocent body? No, put them down already. No more prison to life. Just get them down. Once you find out that they're guilty, they have to go. And what we're doing is don't put them on those chairs where you're executing them and electrocuting them. That is not right. Okay, they did what they did. It was messed up. Now we want to be different. We want to be difference makers. So we want to make injections that are just going to put them to sleep. And they're going to think that, and people think that, let's go to prison and get that injection. You don't need in the future. This is the future. What we see is we're going to make it accessible that if for those of you that don't want to go, you don't have to kill anybody. And then you want to play revenge. Thus, it's so tricky, like playing revenge, seeking revenge, this and that. Have your cameras on. If you're smart, get on camera. Get on camera. Have a body camera. Have your watch on. Have your audio on. You need to be ready because this is your life. And when somebody wants to play with you, you let them know that you got cameras everywhere. They're not going to get away with any crime. Okay? I'm talking about on your shoes, on your watch. I'm talking about on your earrings, in your hat. Okay? Because these people suffer from mental disorders, and they think that just because they suffer from mental disorders, we're gonna let them get away with crimes, with murder, abusing people. Especially if they're doing it over and over again. It's one thing when it's the mistake for the first time, like people make mistakes the first time, but if you keep making those same mistakes, then something is so wrong with you that it's time for you to go. You know what you this
Well, first of all, I'd love to thank all the wonderful people, family, friends for coming to help us celebrate our 10th anniversary. Oh, where did I start? 11 years ago, I was just a little beat. This young lady named June Buckley, 67, in a third. That is no joke. A year later, in Charlottetown, and I started law school. The rest is history. Now we can move the most beautiful person. Happy.
Yeah, but this weekend, it's beautiful. Thank you. She'll come with the friends, with the families. Charlie. He wasn't. Actually, I'm a Is there? Okay, well, comes up and find it. Just a second. 2 and 3. Looks like she went on paper. Well, I'm too done. Thank you very much.
Amazing spread thing there. Aaron, really interesting.
Huh? Aaron doesn't work. She takes care of the home. You keep her on a pretty tight leash, huh? You wouldn't do it if everybody goes like that.
What are you trying to say, Gary?
What? Jackson finally won?
I'm just kidding, man. Jesus, wow.
Aaron, no. Okay, she did not cry anymore.
Aaron's ready. Go ahead and say that. Nothing happened. Take Jake out. It's just upset about the dress. Well, no one